Back before TikTok, before streaming, before even Nickelodeon slime, there was a boy. Paul is his real name, my pal. He grew up in the land of cornfields and Crayola skies, the Midwest. A place where the TV had only 3 channels, and one of them was fuzzy unless you stood on one leg and held a fork in the air.
Welcome back to Life's Learning Curve. Storytelling. Our own life stories, full of humor, some cringeworthy moments, and at times, a grander purpose. Did you ever wonder just how you became the person you are today? That's us. Storytelling. And now, here he is. Grandaddy Pal himself. Paul Hart.
Today's story is both a memory from a long time ago and it's a dream from 10 years down the road that hasn't even happened yet. I know you're saying to yourself, what kind of mind-bending Marty McFly type of weirdness is this? Well, it starts with a very special boy named Callan Lee, who lives in the Austin, Texas area. No, okay, he's my grandson. He's presently 2 years old, and oh, how proud I am of him, truly. But as I watch him grow, I can't help but wonder, what's he going to be like down the road 8 more years when he's 10 years old? What will his voice sound like? You know, kids' voices develop and change. What stories is he going to tell? Or will he even tell stories? So, in today's episode, we lean a little into a little imagination. I'm going to be reading as if I'm Callan at 10 years old, a prediction. Looking back on a piece of his grandfather's life, my life, and maybe discovering a bit of who we all really are. Because sometimes the love between generations doesn't just live in the past. It can write the future too. Sebastian.
Life's Learning Curve, Episode 93. Callan Lee and the Legend of Grandaddy Pal. Stand by.
Hey y'all, it's me, Callan Lee. I'm 10 years old, and live in the wild frontier known as Austin, Texas, where tacos are sacred and boots aren't just for fashion. Now today, I'm gonna tell you a story that zips through time like a bunny on a trampoline. No bunny. This one's about a man of mystery and different voices. My Grandaddy Pal. I call him that because, well, he is my pal, and also because people kept sending him mail with his name spelled wrong. P-A-L, like a cowboy sidekick. I think it kinda stuck. My Grandaddy Pal, the goat of weird voices and old stories. We're hitching a ride on life's merry-go-round, going back, forward, and who knows where else. And while we're spinning through his old stories, I'll stop now and then to tell you what it's like hanging out with Grandaddy Pal these days. Back before TikTok, before streaming, before even Nickelodeon slime, there was a boy. Paul is his real name, my pal. He grew up in the land of cornfields and Crayola skies, the Midwest. A place where the TV had only 3 channels, and one of them was fuzzy unless you stood on one leg and held a fork in the air. All he bold think about was being a superhero. Full on cape in the wind, justice in his heart, Batcave in the basement. Full on. He'd stare at this one Batman TV guide cover like it was a map to buried treasure. Hung it right on his wall, like it was a portal to Gotham City.
I could be Batman.
He told his best friend Jeff one day.
No, you're not rich enough.
Jeff shot back.
Fine, then I'll be Midwestern Batman. Drive a corn-powered Batmobile and fight bad guys, but I'll do it at the state fair. You know, it's the Midwest.
Jeff's family owned this ridiculous ranch in rural Illinois. Cows, horses, caves big enough to echo your name 10 times. Hello? But to the boys, that ranch was the ultimate superhero training ground. They'd run across the plains with towels tied round their necks, dodging invisible bad guys and shouting things like,
To the cornfeuder cave, Jeff! The corn cob kid's on the loose again.
It wasn't all games, though. See, there was this cloud hanging over everything. The Vietnam War. Every night, Grandaddy Pal said the news would show soldiers marching through the mud, same age as his cousins. He didn't understand everything, but he knew enough. The world was messy, sad. So he escaped. Into comics. Into storytelling. Into imagining better endings than the ones on the news. Now, Jeff's grandpa, named Ruff, was a real-life cowboy. Not like movie cowboys who never seemed to get dusty. Nah. Ruff had boots that looked like they kicked 100 rattlesnakes and a face that had seen too many sunrises. He went off to war. South Pacific World War II. Missed that Colorado dirt, something fierce. When Ruff came back home, he was quieter. He hit the road. Found himself out in the Mesilla Valley in New Mexico where Billy the Kid had once stood and squinted into the sun. See, after Ruff got home from that messy war, he wasn't looking for more war. He was looking for stories. For the better part of people. For something to believe in after all the bullets and battle smoke. I guess that sometimes you gotta search for the good parts of life. Now, let me pause and tell you what it's like hanging with my pal these days. Last spring, Grandaddy Pal visited me here in Austin. It rained for 3 days straight. So what did we do? We built a Batcave in my garage. I'm serious. He even brought an old cardboard box labeled crime tools. Inside, flashlights, an old reel of tape that made a spooky whirring sound, a rubber chicken, and this old label maker that clicked out and printed utility belt in crooked letters. We stayed up late with flashlights, making up villains like the weatherman who controlled thunderstorms, forgot birthdays, wore mismatched socks and reading glasses. Pal? Kinda sounds like you.
What?
Pal and I always kid around with each other. He let me be the superhero. He was the tech guy,
Callan,
he said, tapping his temple.
a real hero always packs snacks.
Then he pulled out 2 gas station burritos and a root beer from under a tower. I'm telling you, it was legendary. Oh, and, like last summer, we went fishing. These days Pal doesn't fish so much as tell stories while pretending to fish. The only thing we caught that day was a sunburn and a piece of floating flip-flop. But we talked about everything. Superheroes, the best kind of drum sets, and why clouds look like mashed potatoes if you squint right.
Callan, you know what makes a really good hero?
He asked me, staring at the sky. A cape?
Nah. The courage to keep loving the world, I guess, even when it gets weird, when it's not loving you.
Pal told me one time that the stories we escape to, they're not about running away. They're about running toward something. Toward hope. Toward who we could be. And maybe that's why, even now, at just shy of 76 years old, Grandaddy Pal still dreams like a boy. Still spins stories. Still makes people laugh and think. He still tries to get people to remember.
I guess the world's always gonna be kind of messy sometimes, Callan, so you might as well make a little beauty while you're here. Have a little fun, show up for people. Make a funny story or a goofy drawing or something to help somebody feel, well, not feel so alone.
Like Uncle Riley does?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, finally I gotta tell y'all about this one night I'll never forget. It was summer here in Texas. One of those nights where the cicadas sound like a marching band and the stars don't even blink. Grandaddy Pal and I were sitting out back on the porch. He was rocking slow in that old wooden chair that creaks with every memory, or maybe that was his knees.
I heard that.
I had just come home from a day of cowboy play with my friends. Boots too big, hat too floppy, but as my mom says, my heart is in the right place. I asked him, Pal, You ever wanted to be a real cowboy? He took a long sip of iced tea, wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, and then he leaned forward like he was about to tell a ghost story or give away a treasure map.
A cowboy. Yeah, I did. Callan, I still do want to be a cowboy.
Okay.
Let me tell you a story. Close your eyes if you want.
A story?
It kind of sounds better when you kind of see it in your mind. You kind of dream it. There once was this young cowboy. You with me?
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah. Open. Now, he lived out in the open range, and his horse was named Hickory.
Hickory?
His cattle, well, there were too many to count, but he knew them all by the way they chewed.
Really?
He could tell if a cow was chewing, well, that's Betsy. If another cow was chewing, well, that's Reba, you know. He worked in his saddle day by day, and he slept down in the canyons at night, and there was a reason, because the air at nighttime smelled like pine sap and secrets. He didn't have a phone, didn't have earbuds, he didn't have video games. He just had this campfire. He brought along his guitar, and of course at night you've got the stars. And as the moon would rise up slow every night, and he'd sit there by the fire thinking about lots of things. And of course the moon would rise up slow and silver looking, and he'd sit by the fire thinking about his mom and dad. He missed them. They weren't around anymore. He thought about friends and that he'd loved and spent time with, and unfinished glasses of beer that he wished he would have drunk. He closed his eyes, and just as the prairie dogs were curling up in the grass, he'd sing this song. It was a quiet song. It wasn't loud. It was soft, but man, it was clear as creek water. Like maybe somebody out there could hear him.
Good night, all you moonlit doggies. Rockabye, my boy, Callan Lee. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. So won't you let me go down in my dreams and rockabye, my boy, Callan Lee.
You sang my name.
Of course I did, buddy. 'Cause, listen, you know, even if you weren't there on that trail with me, in that story, I was thinking of you. I always will. Cowboys get lonely sometimes, but they never forget the ones they love. We just send our thoughts and prayers up with campfire smoke, up past the hills, and hope they ride the wind to wherever you're sleeping. Some nights out there on the prairie, you hear the coyotes yipping off in the distance. And if you listen close enough, it sounds like they're telling your story. And the campfire crackles and dances like it's got secrets to share. You don't have to be on a horse to be a cowboy. See, it's about how you carry yourself, how you treat your dad, how you treat your mom,
Yes.
how you sing when the world gets quiet. That's character. And it's character that counts, not just at home,
Okay.
not just on the prairie, but at your school bus stop,
Bus stop?
on the playing field, and at that gas station where you stop to use the bathroom and the key's on a hubcap chain.
Hubcap chain? What?
You say thank you.
Thank you.
When the world does get quiet, or messy, as people say, and it will, just remember, you
Me?
sing your song anyway, your version. For some people, it takes a lifetime to understand that when a person stops running and starts showing up, you just get better. Your dad and mom did that. They learned earlier than most.
He looked at me real serious when he said that last part. And then he smiled like only a grandpa can. Like he knew everything and nothing all at once. I didn't say much after that. Just rocked next to him. Counted stars. Thought about Hickory the horse. He reached out and held my hand. Something I'd never do with my friends. But with Pal, well, it was okay. Sometimes cowboys sing songs when they, miss the people they love. So to my Grandaddy Pal, out there on his own kind of range, wherever his dreams take him, this one's for you.
Good night, you moonlit cowboys, and rockabye, my Grandaddy Pal.
These days, I'm dreaming my own dreams. I got stories of my own to tell. And every time I do, I think of Pal and his best friend Jeff, and how they got to run wild on that Illinois ranch with wind in their hair and justice in their pockets. So yeah, life's messy alright, but it's also awesome. And if Grandaddy Pal taught me anything, it's this: grab it, celebrate it, laugh when you can, fight for good when you have to, and never underestimate a kid with a big imagination. So, this is Callan, signing off from Austin, Texas. But don't worry, I'll be back sometime with another story. Like the time Mom thought she'd lost her sunglasses, but they were on Dad's face the whole day, and he kinda knew. Or the day when Pal accidentally wore my swim goggles to the grocery store and didn't notice till checkout. Spoiler, he didn't take them off. Until then, y'all stay weird, and stay super. No Bonnie. For Life's Learning Curve. I'm Callan.
Subscribe to Life's Learning Curve at lifeslearningcurve.org and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or Podchaser.
Season 7, Episode 93 of Life's Learning Curve podcast, Callan Lee and the Legend of Grandaddy Pal, was put together by Sebastian T. Dog and Paul Hart. Find us just about everywhere podcasts are heard. Our website, lifeslearningcurve.org. While you're there, please subscribe. We'd love to have you aboard. This episode has imaginative voice recreations. To protect the privacy of others, some names have been changed and characters conflated. Season 7, Episode 93 of Life's Learning Curve podcast, Callan Lee and the Legend of Grandaddy Pal. For more lifelong stories and realer-than-real experiences, catch us next time, right here on Life's Learning Curve. We're clear.